Good morning, beautiful birders. Today I've decided to check out Carburn Park, which is a natural environment park within the urban confines of Calgary. This is a park that's surrounded by subdivision. There's a lot of human activity in the area, but despite that, this is one of the best places to visit in Calgary for wildlife. Per unit effort, it's hard to beat this place in terms of seeing different species and having close interactions with them. Today, I'm going to be checking out the river, seeing what waterfowl are here, as well as checking out the forest to maybe see some forest birds. We're at the end of February here, and while we're just recovering from a cold snap, there are signs of spring in the air. So come along with me, let's go birding and see some cool stuff. So the sun is just rising in the sky. It's about 7:30 a.m. and there is what I guess I would call a giant cloud over the river. But I think that should burn off as the sun rises. The morning started out a bit colder than I expected, and there was a dense fog covering the river. These mallards did not seem to mind the frigid air though. Ice off a duck's back, as they say. On the other hand, these Canada geese looked miserable. But maybe they were just sleeping in. As the sun rose, so did the geese, and they started to preen and feed on the water. I love the way their butts go up in the air, while they dabble to feed on underwater plants and algae. Geese numbers are swelling on the Bow River. I saw hundreds, if not thousands that day. It seems like new migrants are joining our overwintering birds. More and more are arriving each day to stage here, to feed, and wait for our wetlands to thaw and open up once again. Hopefully it won't be long now. And there will be variation in where these birds will end up for the breeding season as well. Some will stick around here, with a few breeding right on the banks of the Bow River. Others will take to the wing and travel as far as the Arctic. So one of the main reasons why Carburn Park is so great for birding is the Bow River here. At this section of the river, there are numerous side channels, islands, and also deep water sections, and this provides birds a diversity of habitats. So you can see different ducks from dabblers to divers, geese, and even species like harlequin ducks overwinter here. So a great diversity of habitats means a large number of species you can add to your list. A recent addition to the ducks at Carburn Park are redhead, a gorgeous species of diving duck. These ducks breed in prairie wetlands. While they're diving ducks, many also show the dabbling behavior as well. Males have a striking plumage with a cinnamon head, black breast, and gray body. And if you look closely, you can see they have a striking orangey red eye. And I love their blue bill that features a black tip. One of the funniest things about this duck is how they dive into the water. Like a graceful Olympian, they rise up high in the water before diving into the depths below. That's a 10 out of 10 in my books. One of the ducks I like watching most are BUFFLEHEAD. They're our smallest diving duck and are downright adorable. I love how they pop up from a dive like a cork in water. They are buoyant to the max. At the right angle, their incredible iridescent plumage lights up, showing blues, greens, and purples all blended together. This winter, one of the species I've been enjoying at Carburn Park has been BARROW'S GOLDENEYE, which is just a gorgeous duck. They are found here in relatively small numbers. You have to look for them in groups of common goldeneye, which are far more numerous. One interesting thing about BARROW'S GOLDENEYE is that it is a species of special concern in Canada, mostly due to its small population size. So pretty cool species. It's nice to see a spicy rare duck. Many ducks are quite wary, but some male common goldeneyes have been giving me some great close views. And here at Carburn, I see them in the same spots. If they are indeed the same birds, perhaps they form territories in the river. This one is always found on a small side channel and has offered some very close views. I love the way its green iridescent plumage lights up in this shot. I keep seeing this duck just off the shore of a lookout. After diving, the duck seems to pop up at the exact same spot. So the second main natural component of Carburn Park is this riparian balsam poplar forest. One conservation writer here in Alberta calls Alberta river valleys its emerald veins of life. And I think that's such a good descriptor because these are the places where nature still really exists, where biodiversity is the highest. And they're the best places to really explore as a birder or naturalist. And it's great that we've maintained some of these forests right in the middle of our largest urban centers. There are some challenges though to managing these forests. If you'll look around this forest, you'll see many of the trees have cages on the bottom, sort of a fine wire mesh, and this is to stop beaver herbivory. Urban beavers are a challenge for habitat managers, and if left unchecked, they will basically deforest an area. So it's a good example that in these urban, quote-unquote, natural systems, you still have to have management in order to maintain ecological value. The soft wood of balsam poplar makes for easy excavation for woodpeckers. As such, you can see several species on every trip to Carburn Park. That includes many northern flickers, which are actually the second largest woodpecker species in Canada. Flickers are super abundant at this park. I've seen up to a dozen on a short trip. It's an exciting time for watching flickers. They too can feel spring in the air, and they are acting accordingly. I've started to hear them call and drum more on trees. One of my favorite of all bird behaviors is that of competing male flickers. This behavior happens when they are fighting their relatively polite turf wars. They line up and look at each other and then engage in this ridiculous sparring behavior with their bills. They make a strange call during this, and they also flash their tail feathers. This behavior, known as fencing, is the way they establish dominance over mate and territory. But I like how non-violent it seems, very gentlemanly. A good duel indeed. Another sign of spring I encountered was this flock of robins. Now we do have overwintering flocks in Calgary, which are typically found around our river valleys, like at Carburn Park. So this could have been an overwintering group, but for the sake of my own mental health and optimism for the spring, I'm going to say that these are new migrants and that spring is around the corner. I saw more than birds that day. Now in my last video, I said mule deer are generally more tame than our other species, white-tailed deer. And I think that's generally true, although in Carburn Park, the whitetails are exceedingly tame, and this is likely because some people hand feed them, which is something that is probably not the best for the animals long term, but they are quite chill, and they let you get very close and get some great shots. Seeing these two deer nuzzling was another adorable sight I saw that day. Well, that was some awesome birding here at Carburn Park. It really is an awesome spot for wildlife here in the middle of Calgary. And it's nice seeing some signs of spring too, between courting flickers and a flock of robins and even a magpie carrying a stick. The end of winter is near us, and that is very exciting. More and more ducks and other waterfowl will be traveling north and making a stop on this river, so I likely will come here again in the coming weeks. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy birding.